I've had the Sage or Breville Barista Pro for about 3 months, and I've achieved some really great coffees on it. I'm really pleased with it overall. But one thing I have struggled a little bit with is getting a reliable finish on my milk, getting very nicely velvety textured milk without making it too bubbly, too much like frog spawn, or too thin and therefore having no texture. I've watched a lot of videos, and probably the most helpful that I've watched on steaming your milk from Lance Hendrick and James Hoffman, so I'll try and link those. But the two tips that I probably want to tell you, the things that I think have been most helpful for me in getting that reliable finish, are first of all thinking about the sound that you're listening for as you're aerating that milk, and also the position of the wand as you're getting that initial aeration and injecting air into the milk itself. So the noise that you want to be hearing as you're aerating the milk is that kind of noise. It's the same sort of noise as you get from aerosolized cream, like whipping cream that you would spray from a can. And that's probably no coincidence, because they're both injecting air into a dairy substance. The main tips that you'll learn from any video, and Lance Hendricks does this the best, I would say, is to think about the angulation of your actual wand in the milk itself. So he says to tip halfway forwards and a quarter turn to the side, which basically allows your nozzle to sit in that corner pocket of your jug and create that swirling vortex, which allows you to froth the milk as best as you can. But the one thing I would say is that everybody says you need to put your nozzle just under the tip as you're starting to aerate, but I think the one thing that's made the biggest difference to me is actually the angle of the nozzle as you're starting to aerate. Yes, you can either put it very flat and just underneath the surface, or you can really make it quite an acute angle, and I think that makes a big difference, is to keep it as flat as you possibly can, not perpendicular to the milk, as tight an angle as you possibly can. As you aerate effectively, it will draw in the air and the milk will actually expand, and you can follow up that minuscule level of the milk as it rises. But keeping it flat gets a lot better aeration, a lot faster aeration, than keeping it quite obtuse and perpendicular to the milk. So try that. I'll see if I can demonstrate good and bad techniques. So I've cleaned out my steam wand. I've given it a preliminary expulsion of any condensation that's in there, and I'm going to position half tilted to the front and then slightly off to the side. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get as acute angle as I possibly can in the milk, and then I'm going to turn on the machine itself, which has a bit of a delay to it, keeping it in that corner pocket. I'm going to wait until the steam's at full thrust. And keeping that acute angle, you can see that I'm aerating it. It's a bit bubbly, but now I can keep that steam wand a little bit deeper into that corner pocket and just let it stir in any of that froth that was created on the top, keeping my hand on. It's about body temperature at the moment. It's probably about 35 degrees, starting to get warmer quite quicker. Quite hot, still a bit too hot to hold now. So that's about the temperature that you want it. So, give everything a clean and a purge. And then we can have a look at the milk itself. So it's quite silky and smooth, a little tap just to get any bubbles out, but I'm really pleased with that. And that's the difference that's made, I think, by getting that acute angle, getting that burst of aeration in the beginning, as opposed to spluttering and frothing at the top of the milk, or just getting too little in. And that will make from some really good latte art.